Hi everyone, Stalky Boy here, and today we're once again going to be talking about Halloween. Well, mostly zombies Halloween. I mentioned briefly in my Dead by Daylight Myers adaptation video, links in the description below, that I wasn't a big fan of Mikey's interpretation in the zombie films. Pointing out how I felt Dead by Daylight's Myers was too similar to zombies in terms of size, a few of you also brought up your opinions, one of you mentioning that DBD's Myers was based off of zombies and the original, but this still doesn't make sense since zombies coveralls are a much more obvious green. Before someone says it, yes, I am aware that in the original Myers coveralls are also green, but in the 78 film it's not nearly as apparent. And the mask would still look similar to Shatner's mask with a lot more noticeable wear and tear. The only thing they have in common is the size of their Mikeys, which I don't think was on purpose. I believe they did it for gameplay purposes, possibly thinking Myers would be too powerful if he always had a constant small tear radius and was also small himself. Anyways, Dead by Daylight rant aside, let's talk about zombies Michael Myers. Starting off, I want to point out that if you love this Myers, fantastic, good for you. I am not trying to take that away from you, I am just expressing why I personally think this take on Myers is extremely unfaithful to the original. The biggest reason I'm not a fan of this Myers is because of how heavily humanized he is. Myers in the original is the embodiment of evil, a husk of a human with very few qualities showing that it is human to some capacity. In Zombies film, we are shown every single step of the way as to why this boy became a murderer. Instead of a perfectly normal family, he is shown to have a very dysfunctional family that can't stop screaming! Instead of not having a motive, we have him Batman interrogating people. Like, seriously, what? Now I know some of you might be saying they wanted to do something different. This is too different. There's a problem when Myers has more in common with Jason Voorhees than with his original source material. Really think about it. Both have a loving mother, both have abusive lives that turn them into murderers, both sprint, both are huge, both are absolute brutes. There's quite a few similarities. If we compare him to the original Myers, what do they have in common? There's no real mystery with the new Myers. We know exactly what he wants. His solution to problems is to brute force through things. He does stalk, he's just not nearly as sneaky as the Shape is. They both wait a while, I guess. Let's pull Jason back in for a bit. We're bringing the big J-Man in because I feel in Jason's remake they do an amazing reinvention of the character while also remaining extremely faithful. They go with a bit more of a grounded approach, but that doesn't mean they remove all of what makes Jason. Jason is still a hunter, but they expand on this. They give him a tunnel system with bells giving him information that something is there, that being people or animals. This helps illustrate Jason is an extremely competent hunter and is incredibly smart in his own way. They also have him hold a woman that looks a lot like his mother hostage. I heard lots of people complaining that Jason would never do that, he didn't do it in the originals. I strongly disagree. Throughout the entire franchise, he has always been soft for people imitating his mother. It makes complete sense, it's something new and it fits with the classic movies. They made Jason much more human again, having him run, setting traps, he just seems like an absolute thinking machine, it all fits him. Jason has always been a vengeful spirit, angry at the world for not giving him a chance, taking everything away from him. He has a reason to kill. Myers, on the other hand, has no reason. On one cold Halloween night, it decides to take a life. Maybe it was envious of its sister developing a relationship with someone that wasn't it. Jealous it didn't get attention on Halloween night. Perhaps it's something it wanted to do for a long time. Maybe a supernatural force persuaded Myers to take its sister's life. That's the absolutely terrifying factor with Myers. There is no why. The audience wants it to make sense, but it just doesn't. And when you start giving the Shape motive, it takes away what makes it scary. The thought that anyone can snap at any time, a neighbor that just had enough with their boring life and wants to change things, attacking someone they've never encountered in their entire life for no reason other than they were there. It's a scary concept for me. Like I mentioned earlier, this is stripped away from Rob's Myers. It's clear why he kills, an attempt to make him a sympathetic, misunderstood man is done. In this version of the film, it's laughable that Loomis thinks he's just pure evil. It makes him look like a pretty crummy doctor. This Myers obviously feels things, we see it through the entire movie, even after he puts on the mask, asking for his sister, and once he finds his sister, he slumps down in front of her wanting her acceptance, to just go off into the sunset and be a happy family. This just isn't the boogeyman. Yes, him being a big smashy man is scary, absolutely terrifying, having this man chase you, but we're not here debating whether this is scary or not. This isn't Michael Myers. Michael Myers isn't a man. That's not to say you can't do a much more brutal Myers and have it still be in character. Halloween Kills nails the idea of an angry Michael Myers. But Stalky, with the remake, you have to do something new. The original Myers has already been done. We can't just do it again. Yes, I get that. We're remaking the original, which doesn't need to be remade in the first place. What if I told you there has already been a Halloween prequel that did the source material justice and just made Myers all the more terrifying while still being in character to Myers? It was all done with comic books. Let's go over it. It takes place right after the night in 63, having Loomis taking a young Michael in. Unlike zombies, this child doesn't speak. It doesn't forget what it did, it knows exactly what it did, and it knows it wants to do it again. There is no sympathy with this child. It's so easy to see why Loomis talks with this absolute monster and knows there's no good in it. We see Michael kill his fellow peers, making it look like an accident while still pretending to be the perfect patient. Silent, fooling everyone, but Loomis. Loomis eventually falls in love with one of the workers here. He eventually deems Myers as a lost cause and is ready to move on with his life. He makes plans to marry this woman, but before they can have a happily ever after, Michael kills again. It takes more than a life this time though. It takes Loomis's future. Once again, we don't know why Myers does this. Maybe it gets a sick satisfaction out of Loomis's reaction to her death. Maybe it wants a witness to its work. Someone smarter than everyone else. Someone to taunt, knowing it's fooled every other person but him. Someone it can play with. Someone not so easily fooled. It's such a great Myers story, and it's a crime that this hasn't been put into some sort of movie or show. This is essentially what Zombie tried to do, but it's actually faithful to Michael's character, and it works incredibly well. If I were to continue this and have it as a remake, I would also personally not have it follow the main movie. I would have Myers break out, but go on a killing spree introducing new characters. I'd have it more focused on Loomis. We already have the original and it's perfect. No need to recreate famous shots, it's just going to look worse. Introduce new teenagers, but unlike the original, don't have the story following them. Have it follow Loomis after Michael's breakout. See how much Loomis suffers from this monster's actions. Show why he's so desperate to put Michael away. Show that when Loomis finally does catch up to Myers and blast him, the audience has such a strong connection with Loomis, having them really feel for him, having them begging that this movie will have a different outcome to the 78 predecessor. And in the final shots, when Loomis has him within his reach, the audience holds their breath on the edge of their seats, desperately wanting to see Loomis catch the monster that ruined his life. It gets away. This could easily be a TV show or multiple movies, and man, would it be a ton of fun. I would just love to see more of Loomis in the future. He's such a great character. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like below and consider subscribing for more content like this. Also, we got Leprechaun merch for one more week. After that, it's gone. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to see these videos earlier. Links in the description below. Thank you all again, take care, and I will see you in the next one.